Welcome back, dear viewers. Thank you for joining us as we continue our journey through the Tamil epic, Manimekalai. In this episode, Manimekalai returns to Kaveripatnam with a mission to save the city from impending doom. Let's dive right into the story. Manimekalai stood on the shores of Manipalavam, the holy seat of Buddha, glowing faintly behind her. The vision she had received was clear. Kaveripatnam was on the brink of destruction, and she alone could save it. With renewed determination, she boarded the small boat that had brought her to the island. Her heart was heavy with the weight of her task. The journey back to the city was swift, the river's current seemingly guiding her toward her destiny. As she approached Kaveripatnam, the once vibrant city now seemed cloaked in an eerie stillness. The Festival of Indra, which had begun with such joy and splendour, had taken on a sombre tone. The streets, though still adorned with flowers and lamps, were nearly empty, as whispers of impending doom spread like wildfire. Manimekalai stepped onto the riverbank, her eyes scanning the horizon. The tension in the air was palpable, a sense of fear that gripped the city. Her first stop was the monastery, where her mother, Madhavi, awaited her return. The moment Manimekalai entered, Madhavi rushed to her side, her face etched with worry. "What did you find?" she asked, her voice trembling. "Is there hope for the city?" Manimekalai nodded, though her expression was grave. "The gods are angry," she said. "The Festival of Indra has not been enough to appease them, but there is a way to save Kaveripatnam. I must share the teachings of the Buddha with the people to guide them back to the path of righteousness." Madhavi's eyes filled with tears, but she nodded in understanding. "You have always been strong, my daughter. If anyone can save this city, it is you." With her mother's blessing, Manimekalai set out into the city, her heart filled with purpose. She walked through the streets, her presence a beacon of calm amidst the growing chaos. The people, though fearful, were drawn to her, their eyes filled with a mixture of hope and desperation. In the heart of the city, near the Temple of Indra, Manimekalai found a crowd gathered, their voices raised in prayer. She stepped forward, her voice clear and steady as she addressed them. "People of Kaveripatnam," she began, "the gods are not angry without cause. We have strayed from the path of righteousness, and only by returning to it can we hope to save our city." The crowd fell silent, their eyes fixed on her. Manimekalai spoke of the teachings of the Buddha, of compassion, selflessness, and the importance of living a life free from greed and pride. Her words resonated deeply, touching the hearts of all who listened. But not everyone was willing to hear her message. Among the crowd was a group of priests, their faces dark with anger. One of them stepped forward, his voice sharp and accusing. "Who are you to speak of righteousness?" he demanded. "You are but a young woman, a courtesan's daughter. What do you know of the gods and their will?" Manimekalai met his gaze without flinching. "I am no one," she said, "and yet I am everyone. I am a daughter of this city, and I carry the truth within me. Like the gods do not care for titles or lineage, they care only for the purity of our hearts." The priest hesitated, his anger faltering in the face of her calm resolve. But before he could respond, a sudden commotion erupted at the edge of the crowd. A man burst through, his face pale and his eyes wide with fear. "The river!" he cried. "The Kaveri is rising!" Panic swept through the crowd as people turned toward the river. The waters, once calm and steady, now churned with a violent energy, their surface frothing and surging. The people cried out in terror, their prayers turning to screams as the river began to overflow its banks. Manimekalai stood firm, her voice rising above the chaos. "Do not fear," she called. "The river is but a reflection of the gods' anger. If we stand together, if we embrace the teachings of compassion and righteousness, we can calm its fury." Her words seemed to pierce through the fear, and the people turned to her, their eyes filled with a desperate hope. Manimekalai led them in prayer, her voice steady and strong. As the waters continued to rise, the people joined her, their voices rising in unison. For a moment, it seemed as though the river would consume the city. But then, as if in response to their prayers, the waters began to recede, their violent energy subsiding. The people watched in awe as the river returned to its banks, its surface calm once more. Manimekalai turned to the crowd, her heart filled with a sense of relief. "The gods have heard us," she said. "But this is only the beginning. We must continue to walk the path of righteousness to ensure that such a calamity does not befall us again." The people nodded, their faces filled with gratitude and determination. But as Manimekalai looked out over the city, she knew that her journey was far from over. The forces of darkness still lurked in the shadows, and the true test of her strength and resolve was yet to come. Manimekalai's courage has brought hope to Kaveripatnam, but the city's trials are far from over. What challenges await her next? Join us in the next episode as we uncover the final chapter of this timeless tale. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.